Hello everyone, I wanted to come here today to say I hope everyone is having an awesome holiday. If you're on break, enjoy your winter break. But I wanted to talk about what I have learned from having a private practice. I had a private practice called New Beginnings Speech Mobile for 3 years, and it was traveling, so I would go to the client's home and provide services there. It was mostly focused on peds. I was offered other clients, but I felt most comfortable providing services for pediatric clients. It was good for me to be able to help families learn how to communicate with their children in their homes. I did have instances where people wanted to leave their home once I started working with the child. They wanted to use me as a babysitter, or they just didn't want to be bothered when I would try to show them how to use various communication systems in their home for their child. A lot of times you would come across parents who, okay, it's your turn, I get a break. And you can understand that to a certain extent, but then there has to be a time where consultation takes place. Consultation takes place in the school setting. It takes place in acute care and in long-term care settings. So, of course, it's supposed to take place with the parents in the home. So you have to make that a priority. Communicate with parents about how that needs to be a priority because their children are receiving services in their home. You have to know when to refer clients to another therapist. Of course, it's easy if there's something that's outside of your area of specialty. When I was presented with a client who needed services regarding dysphagia, I was, easily able to refer that client to another therapist. But I would also tell parents, your child cries every time I come. Every time they work with me, they're crying. And this happened with 2 such clients. And I would tell the parents, you may want to look into another therapist. They didn't do that. They wanted me to stay. And then they became frustrated and then wanted to put the blame on me. Oh, you don't know how to work with my child. Well, remember, I communicated to you that you may want to find another therapist. And so after those 2 occurrences, I just got to the point where, okay, I will go ahead and make the referral myself, even if the parents wanted me to stay, even if I had a good rapport with the family. It is about the client. And if this client is not able to work with you, you're not going to be a perfect fit for every single client, then you need to make the referral. You need to make the referral. Do not rely on the parent to look for another therapist for their child. You be the one to make the referral. It is appropriate to do so. You also have to keep in mind the child's schedule or that client's schedule. If you have been scheduled to come and do an hour-long session after this child or this client has spent a 2-hour session with a behavioral specialist, behaviors can arise. If your client is not able to tolerate a 1-hour session or a 45-minute session and can only tolerate a 30-minute session, communicate that to the parents. I remember communicating that to parents and having them say, well, if you can't do the 1-hour session, then we'll choose another therapist. And I said, okay, that's fine. And they were able to choose another therapist. But this is a child who could not tolerate, after about 20 minutes, behavior started to arise. So keep that in mind as you choose to start your private practice if you're contemplating it. For those of us who are seasoned, a lot of times you've done, work with this client over here after your regular job, or on weekends you've worked with clients over here, over there. But turning it into a full-time business, there are a lot of other things to consider. Of course, you're going to keep track of your mileage, knowing that when it comes to taxes, you can only deduct mileage if it's from one client to the next. And I had a lot of traveling to do. It spanned 4 counties in the state of Maryland. And it was very lucrative. I loved it. I loved being able to make my own schedule. I had uniforms made. I had polo shirts, and I would wear those with khakis. You have to, be prepared to get down on the floor in a child's room or in someone's living room, wherever they want you to work, or in a daycare center. And aside from the marketing, that was a big piece. But you also have to keep in mind how your business works for your family. At that time, my husband and I did not have children yet. I had actually gone through a miscarriage while working with my private practice full time. And the doctor told me not to carry heavy bags, and I would always have a heavy bag. Having to go up steps, she said not to go up steps. So I did make the modifications to, stay downstairs in the living room and lighten my workload, the weight in my bag. But this was a time when a student had behaviors all of a sudden, and I was hit in the stomach. I don't know if that the miscarriage had started when I saw the doctor a few days before, so it was probably inevitable. But keep in mind your family issues. The private practice came to a halt. Didn't stop, but it came to a halt when I became pregnant the second time and was put on modified bed rest. So when you do have a private practice, make sure you have a backup therapist. Make sure you have a backup plan. If you're not able to carry out the therapy and you're the only one, you're the sole proprietor, even if it's an LLC, if it's just you, mine was an LLC, but if it's just you, you need backup so that your clients can continue to receive services with your company. I had to refer my clients to other people. I didn't get them back, but after I had my daughter, I was able to get new clients. And that grew. At the same time, I chose to work part-time for our local school system. But then I had to make a decision to end the private practice because these were all pediatric clients and everyone wanted their children seen in the evenings. Of course, you want your child to be seen after school. And the problem with that was that I was breastfeeding. I was missing my child. I only worked 2.5 days a week with the local school district, but after school, I wanted to see my baby, my new baby. And I wasn't able to because I had to work with several other clients. By the time I came home, she was asleep. So I had to make the decision to go ahead and end it. If it comes to a point in time where it doesn't feel right anymore, then you do what you need to do and end it. I feel like I've come full circle with working with telepractice as an independent contractor, because this is another business focusing on speech language pathology. And I feel as though I'm a businesswoman at heart anyway. I'm supposed to be an entrepreneur. So that's why these opportunities come to me. That's why I have the jewelry store. That's why we have 2 books that are published, self-published, not through self-publishing companies, but self-published ourselves. Because I am supposed to be an entrepreneur. And if you feel as though you are supposed to be an entrepreneur and you want your business to focus on speech language pathology, then go through with it. Do your research. A lot of people say you won't break even the first year. You can. I ended up with a profit that first year. It is possible. It is possible to, get business credit and purchase the assessments and the therapy materials that are needed and still have a profit. I had a profit every year of my business. So I learned a lot from private practice. Go ahead and, if you are married and your spouse has health insurance, make sure you're covered, or purchase your own coverage. You can purchase your own unemployment insurance. Make sure that you are covered. Make sure you have prepaid legal. Make sure that if people don't show up for their appointments, you already have a policy in place where you charge $25 or however much money you will charge. And then you're going to have to enforce it. And that's what your prepaid legal can help you do. I had a lot of instances, and these were sessions based in people's homes, where I would knock on the door and they weren't there. And this is even after day before reminders by phone. And they answered the phone and said, yes, we will be here tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And 3 o'clock the next day, they weren't there. Or they would be an hour late and say, well, you can see them an hour late, can't you? I would say, no, I have other clients. So you have to keep those things in mind as well. And I believe that's all that I have for this video. If I think of anything else, I can always put it in another video or include it in the description box. If you have any questions for me regarding private practice, feel free to ask. Mine was a traveling business, so because I went from house to house, if you want to say, the first 2 miles are, no charge, but I do charge, however much money per mile past those 2 miles. That's up to you. Like I said, I span 4 counties, and these are large counties out here in this particular state. And so keep all of those things in mind. There are, of course, things I would do differently. I would also have an office, that's more overhead. I would also have office space as well as traveling therapists, plural. So you think about how you want your business to be structured. Like I said, this is geared towards seasoned therapists who want to start, those who may already be in private practice, but these are things you haven't thought about. If you're already in private practice and you are in your own private practice and you've been in it for a while and you think there are things that should also be considered, leave those in the comments section so that other therapists can see those. If you're in grad school or even undergrad and you're thinking, after I get my master's, I want to start my private practice after a few years, consider these things. So I want to say thank you to everyone. Have a wonderful holiday and a most prosperous 2021. See you all later. God bless. Bye.